Ranking Member, for 5 minutes, please, to ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate the chairman's comments about working together on bipartisan solutions that will encourage innovation. I believe that there are ways that we can work together to develop new ways to conserve our resources and recycle materials. I think my biggest concern is around threatening our standard of living and our economic competitiveness, which I think we also need to consider. Mr. Seaholm, I wanted to ask just a series of questions just to help me better understand, because the Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act and Title IX of the Clean Future Act reflect this drive to ban plastics from the United States economy. And I just wanted to ask some questions to better understand. When people think of a single-use plastic, they focus on straws and lunch baggies. Would these bills only affect these items?
Certainly not. You're absolutely right. The term plastic is a very, very broad one, but oftentimes gets, you know, perhaps wrongly applied. And in this case, especially when we're looking at the moratorium on new plastics manufacturing facility, it would cover every type of plastic imaginable. And there's really about six categories of polymers, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of plastics out there. So it would cover them all.
Would you consider the most important kinds of single-use plastics, like for healthcare or safety applications, or plastics that help us lower carbon emissions? Would that be included?
Well, that's sort of like asking someone to choose their favorite child, but we do represent the entire plastics industry. I would say all single-use plastics have a purpose, and whether that is to protect food and keep food from spoiling, or certainly medical devices and PPE are things that we became acutely aware of, and the value of plastic over the last couple of years. So once again, these pieces of legislation would cover everything from food packaging to even automotive parts when it comes to the production of plastic.
So if we were to implement a ban, are there equally effective and affordable alternatives? And what would eliminating or significantly limiting the use of plastic materials mean for our economy and our way of life?
Yeah, every product, every business that's manufacturing a product chooses the material they do for a reason. And that's why plastic oftentimes is the choice, whether it's performance properties, whether it's hygienic reasons, whether it's availability and safety components of it. At the end of the day, those are the choices being made. And simply saying we're going to stop using plastic doesn't get rid of the demand for the product that's in question. That's where you get a movement to other materials. And at the end of the day, when you look at life cycle assessments, plastic almost always wins when compared to other products for the applications that it's used for.
Thank you. I appreciate those insights. Mr. Johnson, no doubt recycling has a lot of benefits, and we want to figure out how to do this and do it effectively. Does a one-size-fits-all approach make sense for recycling? And would you speak to the role of the federal government or states and local governments in charge of residential and curbside collection efforts?
Thank you. It's great to see you, Mrs. McMorris Rodgers. No, one size fits all doesn't work. I mean, I would say recycling in Spokane doesn't work the same as in Albany as it does in Little Rock. It's all recycling is really, especially and let me caveat that the residential recycling is a local issue that's better handled at the local level, and the more of the industrial and commercial, where the vast majority of recycling happens, that's a little bit more. It does have some regional issues, but it's a little closer to that one size fits all, but certainly not at the residential level, where you just get a different mix of materials that are coming into the recycling stream, and the residential recycling systems really don't have a choice of what they get to accept, other than through the you and me, the citizens, sorting that material before it goes into that system.
I have one more question. I just wanted to ask on Mr. McKinley's bill, really focusing on a pilot project for rural areas. How long should this pilot last? And do you have a sense of how much funding it would need to be authorized to make it meaningful?
I'm not a good guess at money on that for you. you would be better, the CBO and such would be better at that. But I think you definitely do need a period of time, at least 5 years or more, to see whether it works. I mean, it takes a while to get people accustomed to recycling, to recognize that it's beneficial and to understand how to do it and how to do it right. And as at the beginning, as they sort of throw too much stuff into the mix, and they get guess better educated about what they're putting in there, they'll start to reduce the contamination and it'll get better. And I think 5 years might be a good time frame.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Illinois, Representative Schakowsky, who also serves as subcommittee chair for